Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful story about choices, about consequences, and about the sacred bond between a mother and her children. A bond that, when it's broken, can lead to a lifetime of regret.
So let's just kick things off with a pretty deep question. This story really challenges our whole understanding of what it means to be a mother. And it asks, what happens when a mother's love for herself becomes bigger than the love for her own kids?
I mean, can you even imagine? These are the shocking, just unbelievably cruel words of a mother named Zainab, and she said them to her own children. This really sets the stage for a truly heart-wrenching story. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, so our story kicks off with Zainab. She's a woman who felt completely trapped by her life, by her kind but maybe a little too simple husband Kamran, and by her two young children, Ahmed and Maria.
So Zainab's world, it's a complicated picture, right? She saw her hardworking husband as just boring. And her own children, she didn't see them as a blessing. To her, they felt like a cage, a barrier, stopping her from getting what she really wanted, a life of passion and freedom with another man, Farouk.
Now, when her husband dies unexpectedly, that last little bit of restraint she had just vanishes. She starts openly seeing Farouk, and she'd often just leave her 10-year-old son and her baby daughter all by themselves for days at a time. And this is the point of no return. This was the final, devastating act of abandonment. She could hear her children crying for her, but she still slammed the door, choosing herself and leaving them completely and utterly alone in the world. So in her mind, Zainab has done it. She's finally escaped. She's with Farouk now, on her way to that life of wealth and passion and freedom she'd always dreamed of. That dream life she sacrificed everything for? Yeah, it lasted for exactly 2 days. Just 2 days after she married Farouk, disaster struck. And just like that, the entire foundation of her new life, all that wealth she abandoned her family for, it literally went up in smoke, turning into nothing but ash. The dream was already turning into a nightmare. And this is where things get really interesting. Her fate doesn't just change, it completely flips on its head. It was a swift, total reversal that stripped away not just the money she wanted, but the entire illusion of the life she thought she'd finally gotten. And that love Farouk had for her, it curdled into this bitter, ugly resentment. He started blaming Zainab for everything, and his words, well, they were a chilling echo of the same exact cruelty she'd once shown her own kids. Her life just unraveled, one disaster at a time. First, poverty hit. That passionate love she'd given up everything for, it turned into daily arguments and nasty abuse. Then, after 6 years without children, her value in Farouk's eyes was gone. He just took a younger wife, and Zainab, she was violently thrown out onto the street with absolutely nothing to her name. But here's the twist. While Zainab's world is completely falling apart, something very different was happening with the children she left behind. It's just heartbreaking. You have this little boy, Ahmed, having to carry his baby sister Maria through the streets, literally begging for food and dealing with the taunts of the villagers. But through all of that, he made a promise. He would protect his sister, he would raise her, and he would never let anyone say she was like the mother who abandoned them. And this, right here, is the core of the story. It's a tale of two completely opposite fates. While their mother's selfish choices led her to begging on the streets, the children's devotion to each other and their faith allowed them to rise from the ashes. They didn't just get by, they built a life of wealth, success, and real honor in their community. Okay, so fast forward many, many years. Worn down by a brutal life as a beggar, Zainab is pulled by this tiny, faint hope of forgiveness, so she decides to go back to her old village. She shows up, but she's a frail, old beggar now, completely unrecognizable. And where her little broken-down home used to be, she finds this magnificent, huge house. Her heart just drops. She finds out that this grand home belongs to her children, who are now respectfully known as Ahmed Sahib and his sister Maria. And she, their own mother, is standing at their door like a total stranger. So, trembling, she knocks and begs for some food. And the door is opened by a beautiful young woman who is the spitting image of Zainab in her youth. It's her daughter, Maria, who of course has no idea who this old beggar is, and kindly gives her some food. And then, Maria says something so simple, so innocent, that it just pierces Zainab's soul. She says,
God give you ease, Amma, mother. That one little word, from the daughter she walked away from, delivers the final crushing blow. And at that moment, her handsome, successful son Ahmed walks right past, without even a single glance at the beggar on his doorstep.
So, after all this tragedy and this incredible reversal of fortune, what is the ultimate takeaway? What are we supposed to learn from this powerful story?
Well, the moral is pretty stark, isn't it? Zainab betrayed the most sacred bond there is, all for her own selfish desires, and in the end, she was left with absolutely nothing but an empty begging bowl and a regret so huge it was the only thing she had left. And that leaves us with one last tough thought to chew on. Zainab is filled with regret, sure, but her children's lives moved on and flourished without her. It really forces us to ask, what's the true power of repentance? And can it ever really undo the consequences of our actions?